Mike D checking in with you guys. I wanted to actually check in this time and give you a full comprehensive review of Clipse Let God Sort 'Em Out album. There's been a lot of talk online. I'm sure you've heard all the opinions, all of the highlights, if you will, maybe some of the lowlights as well. But I wanted to go song for song and not really go on long diatribes about it, but rate them on a scale from 1 to 10. And I want to get you guys' opinion on this rating system and, what you guys think about each song. So without any further ado, I'm going to start from the top. I'm going to start with The Birds Don't Sing, featuring John Legend. I was on the fence here. I started off giving this song a 9, and then I listened to Malice's verse again and again and again. And shout out to Pusha and his verse, the way he set the song off. I was like, you know what? I got to get this song a 10. I gave this song a 10 because, again, this is a deeply personal record. They started the album off with this record. And, tragically, Malice and Pusha lost their mother and father in a close proximity. And the brothers are coming back together. And Pusha spoke about his mother, or their mother, excuse me. And Malice spoke about their father. And it was a very special moment. It's one of those records that you normally don't get from this collective. And they executed on it perfectly. Pharrell did his thing with the production as well. I think that them choosing John Legend was the perfect choice for the hook. I even liked some of the things that Pharrell was doing in the hook towards the end of the song. So I was like, you know what? To set the album off in this way, and the placement of the song, the subject matter of the song, and the execution of the song, I was like, I can't give this a 9. This has to be a 10. So it was one of the 10s that I gave on this album. So let's go to the next song, Chains and Whips. Mm, Chains and Whips is hard. I know a lot of people feel like Kendrick's overhyped on this, and you got all the talks about the whole Def Jam dropping and this and that. And they just shot a video for this as well. Kendrick's not in the video, but no further ado, I give that song a 9. I think Chains and Whips is hard. I know y'all heard me on the broadcast comparing it to sonically to No Church in the Wild and the way it drives. And I'm saying that in a complimentary way because I think it's the perfect song to start this album off with after you get that intro out the way, that where they're bursting their emotions out there and they're speaking about their parents and you get that level of transparency and that emotional um, execution out the way, and then you start with something driving. And I think Chains and Whips was perfect for that. Pusha set this one off properly, man. Now, this is the menacing clips that we all were hoping that we were going to get on this album, and they didn't disappoint with this record. The beat is crazy, the verses are crazy, the features crazy. I had to give this one a 9. P.O.V. I gave that a 9 as well. P.O.V. is at that same level. Chains and Whips, again, featured with Tyler, the Creator. I think that Tyler has the best featured verse on this album. You could tell that he is a student of the Clipse, of the Neptunes, of Pharrell. He's never been shy about that. And usually you get artists to show up in those moments. And Tyler definitely showed up in this moment. He understood the gravity of who he was rapping with and what this moment looked like and what this album looked like. And he did this from a level of, I'm gonna dig in and do my best. And the beat change, again, I'm gonna get into this when we get to towards the end of the album. I wasn't a huge fan of the beat change on this one because I think the first beat was better than the second. But the way Malice sounded on this second beat and the way Malice killed it, he made the beat change work. And so I'm giving POV a 9. So Be It. I gave So Be It a 10. I thought So Be It was epic. I thought that the verses were, those guys were at their best. This is Malice and Pusha at their grimiest and at their best. And Pharrell came through with this beat. And them saying that Jay-Z was supposed to be on this record, I get that. I could see that. I could see Jay being on this record, or at least them sending this to Jay-Z. Let me say it like that. So Be It is one of the 10s that I gave as well. I think it was perfect execution on everyone's end. And to give a little bit of clarity, and maybe I should have said this from the jump, the stuff that I'm giving 10s, It's when I see or hear that the production and the execution of the emceeing, the hooks, and all of those things line up perfectly. And it's the highest level of what this album offers. And I think this song is an example of the highest level that this album has to offer. Now, Ace Trumpets. I like Ace Trumpets. It was one of the first songs, if not the first song we heard from this effort. I gave it an 8. And not that I don't like it, I just think that Ace Trumpets is dope, but I don't think it reaches the level of So Be It. And let me talk about Chains and Whips and P.O.V because I gave those 9s. I couldn't give Ace Trumpets the same rating that I gave P.O.V or Chains and Whips. I couldn't. I just don't think it is at that level. I think it's dope, but I think it's a step down, if you will, respectfully. Now, all things considered, the song that is. The song All Things Considered, which comes after Ace Trumpets, I gave that a 6. I think All Things Considered is probably the skip moment on this album. I think that the beat, especially coming off of what we're coming off of for these, I mean, look at the first couple of songs. You got Birds Don't Sing, Chains and Whips, P.O.V, So Be It, Ace Trumpets, and then you got All Things Considered. And I think that's a significant drop from where you're at the beginning of this album. I actually think it's probably the weakest beat on the album, probably the weakest moment on the album as well, respectfully. So I gave that one a 6. Let me know if you guys disagree with that. Then Mike Tyson blow to the face. So you got the lowest moment in my personal, one of my personal favorites on here. I think one of the highest moments. Mike Tyson blow to the face. I gave a 10. That sounds like vintage Neptunes, vintage Clipse, vintage Pharrell, if you will. Sound effects in the back. You got the the rhythmic sound effects in the back. You got the dope hook. It even gives you sort of a driving type of RZA feel when you hear that doom 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 doom. I mean, it's madness. To me, it is the replay moment of this album. When I heard this song, that was the song I said, you know what? Got to play this one again. So Mike Tyson blow to the face. I gave that one a 10. EBITDA. I gave that one a 7. I think it's another one of those moments where, the track kind of it lets its foot off the gas a bit. It's an okay record. It's a dope record. I think this is more of something that could be on another project, but for this project and the tone this project was setting, I would have to give this song a 7. In relation to what everything else is. Now, FICO. FICO was one that I struggled with because I like FICO a lot. I think that Malice's last verse, Malice went bananas on here. The hook with Stove, he did his thing. I was leaning towards a 9, and then I listened to it over and over, and I'm like, this is more of an 8, especially where I put the 9s. I don't think that this song is at the same level as Chains and Whips. I don't. So yeah, I think that it would be fair. I had to put this one at 8. Inglorious Bastards. This is a 10, man. Inglorious Bastards is crazy. You got Clue coming out of nowhere. You got Ab Lava here. And to me, if I'm being real here, this is one of the best beats on the album. This is, again, just like Mike Tyson blow to the face. This is vintage Neptunes. Now, with So Be It, and I'm going to be honest, with So Be It, Chains and Whips, P.O.V, these are dope, but those sound kind of yay influence when it comes to like the dark nature of it. But what we love, or what I love, and the brightness of what, the Neptunes can bring, especially when they're able to be in contrast with Malice and Pusha and, Pharrell's sound. This is an example of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, they gave you some hardcore shit that was still bright that you could actually hear at, like, at the Essence Festival or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, this sound like you going to what's that joint? The Gulf Classic or something. I marched down there in the Gulf Classic and I didn't even remember. Getting old, Mike. All right. So far ahead, 7. That's what I gave that one because again, I mean, you see a clear contrast with Inglorious Bastards and with a 10 and what these levels are. I felt like there was a bit of a drop off there. So far ahead, I gave that one a 7. Again, production. And usually the stuff that I mean, not usually. I mean, when you look at all things considered, 6, EBT, I'm sorry, EBITDA, 7, and so far ahead, 7. It's it's beats and hooks, honestly. I mean, I got to give it to Malice and Push. They didn't let up on any of these records, to be honest. All right, let God sort them out. Slash chandeliers. All right, I struggled with this one because at first I had a 9 there. Let me look at my notes. First, I had a 9 there. And then the beat change happened. And to me, the beat change on this one was unnecessary. And I feel like if you're going to change the beat, that beat has to be greater than or equal to the initial beat. And I thought the initial beat was fire. Actually, one of the better beats on the whole album, especially the second half. And when it changed for Nas, I mean, Nas gave us a dope verse. Wasn't an epic Nas verse or anything, but the beat didn't dictate where we were going, and the verse didn't really, take the beat anywhere in the same way that Malice's verse actually took the P.O.V beat change, in my personal opinion. So I gave this one an 8. I felt like if I gave it a 9, and again, I used Chains and Whips as my barometer and P.O.V as my barometer, I think that this song is a slight step below that. So I gave it an 8. By the grace of God, I think it's a dope ending to this album. I gave it an 8. I think that they did everything they needed to on this song to close it. It wasn't an epic close, but it was a good close. And it gave you, I mean, without even looking at the track list, because that's what I was not doing when I was listening to this album the first time. I heard this song and I could tell that it was, the end of the album. I could tell it was the closer. So it was a pretty good closer. Like I said, not an epic closer, not a 10 closer, but it was an 8. So with all of these things added up, we got 13 tracks here. I added up all of this. That puts us at 110, I believe. And then you divide that by 13, then you're looking at a 8.46. So we'll round this up, 8.5. Let me know if y'all think that this is a fair way to actually score things, because I mean, I'm gonna say this because I would be remiss to not say this. Albums aren't always about song for song for song for song. They're about flow. And sometimes they're about, sometimes a song can be a 8 by itself, but sometimes in the flow of an album, it could be a 9 within that flow. I do feel like this album didn't take on that kind of theme. It was more of track for track type of thing. I think that the two songs that did give us that was the opener with The Birds Don't Sing and the closer with By the Grace of God. So we had a opener and a closer, and I think everything else kind of, well, I don't know. I think the Chains and Whips, P.O.V, and So Be It, those kind of built into each other. And then after that, we were kind of at a free for all sonically and subject matter wise. So I think to some degree it is fair to be able to rate an album like this, but this is not always the rule. And I'm gonna do this for other albums as well. And I might go back and do this for our classic albums that we already know are what they are in the genre, just so we can kind of have some point of reference to this and be able to have something to point to of an album that has nothing but 9s or nothing but 10s. Let me know what other album this year or that came out this year you think I should do this for. And, let me know what other classic album you think I should do this for as well. Also, I would like to hear you guys' opinion on what ratings you disagree with, what you did agree with, and if there's some things that I left out. I know there's a whole lot of bars to get to on this album. You guys know the bar work is superior. I do think that Pusha did an incredible job of being agile on this album and being able to be the glue guy on this album. But I do think that the MVP and the MC that took this album to the next level is Malice. I believe Malice really showed us what we were missing when it came to Pusha T's solo career, respectfully, that balance. And Pusha said it himself in his Rolling Stone interview. You can hear complete thoughts now when you have both Malice and Pusha together. You have that menacing, grimy nature with Pusha, and then you have that sensibility with Malice as well. But let me know if I'm wrong. Let me know what you guys' opinions are on this as well. Hit like and subscribe. We really appreciate that. You know, the page is growing. I got some huge interviews actually coming up. But hit like and subscribe so you guys can stay updated on what According to Hip Hop has going on. And yeah, I think that Let God Sort 'Em Out's album of the year. Let me know what other album you think is album of the year instead. But again, like and subscribe. Appreciate you guys tuning in to my thoughts. See you next time.